Welcome boys and girls. Today we're doing a guitar reamping session and you can be a part of it. Today I want to check out 4 highly interesting microphones that I've never used on a guitar cab. A lot of people, including me, use SM57s to record heavy guitars. But you know, sometimes we're looking for something else. Sometimes we're looking for different options. Today I want to check out 4 different ribbon microphones in front of a 4x12 guitar cab. That's going to be fun. We're going to try to dial in an evil guitar tone and you can be a part of it. Welcome to Spitfire Studios in Los Angeles. Let's do the ribbon reamping shootout. Here we go. I like that. As you might remember, a few months ago, I did a drum recording session at Toolhouse Studios in Germany, where I used ribbon mics exclusively to record the drums. That was a lot of fun. There's a link here to the video in case you haven't checked it out. And when I came here to Los Angeles, I visited the AEA workshop and I thought like, hey, why don't we do the same thing with the guitars, the rhythm guitars of the same song. So today we're going to reamp the rhythm guitars of that song using ribbon mics once again. And when I visited AEA, I picked up 4 highly different ribbon microphones that we're going to check out today in front of this Mesa Boogie 4x12 cabinet. Let's find out how they sound. But first, I want to walk you through the setup. Let's go. So we're playing back the DI tracks through my Audient Evo 16 interface. And from there, we are going into a reamping box that I just found here at Warren's studio from Signal Art. I've never used it before, but it seems to work pretty well. So we're going into that reamping box, which will take care of the level and the impedance to convert a balanced studio line signal into a guitar signal. And from there, we are going into the guitar amp. Right now, I'm using an Engel Artist Edition, but we got a few other options. We got some Marshall amps here, an EVH, we got a Mesa Roadster. So I'm not sure. Depending on how it sounds, we might check out some other amps as well. From the amp, there is a loudspeaker cable going here into the live room where we have this lovely Mesa Boogie 4x12 rectifier cab connected. I just called Nolly Getgood in the UK and gave him the serial number, and he told me this cab is from 2005. And that means, that's what he told me, that is a rather harsh and industrial sounding year compared to the 2002 and 3 models that I'm used to. But you know what? If it sounds a little brighter, that might just be the right thing for the ribbon microphones, which tend to sound darker, obviously. But we will find out. So what we're going to do is we're going to put an SM57 as a reference and those 4 different ribbon microphones that I will introduce in a minute in front of that cabinet, and we will find out how it sounds. Back in the control room, let's have a look at our setup here. First of all, here you can see the Engel Artist Edition amp I talked about, and this is the Signal Art reamping box. And from here, we're shooting the signal into the live room, and from there, it's coming back, and all the microphones go through the mic pre's of this lovely Audient ASP 4816 console. I might also use the filters, the low-cut filters or the EQ on the way in, or maybe to show you some stuff. Let's see. But I have 5 faders with the 5 microphones, so I can switch them on and off and blend them and do whatever. And then we go into my Kreative Devices laptop with an Audient Evo 16 interface and record everything there. Time to shoot some DIs back into the room. Let's get started. Time to check out the microphones. As usual, I want to start with the SM57. We all know how a 57 sounds. That is our reference. Here we go. Sounds nice, a little brittle maybe. I hear a lot of sizzle in the high, so later I would typically add a high cut filter to that microphone. Maybe Nolly was right about the 2005 cap sounding a little brighter. I could also roll back the presence on the amp. Let's just keep it in the middle and see what happens. So that's the 57. The first ribbon mic I want to check out is the N22. And this is a more, what AEA call a more modern ribbon microphone. It's voiced for near field application. So what we are doing right now, because we're going to put this very close to a guitar cab. As we all know, ribbon mics are typically figure-of-8 microphones with a pretty strong proximity effect. So if you put it close to a cab, it's going to have a lot of low end. So this is compensated. This microphone has an extended top and has a reduced proximity effect. So it's probably going to sound less boomy than the classic ribbon. This one is also active. I'm curious to see how it sounds. Sounds very natural, obviously darker, less aggressive than the 57. All the grind and sizzle is gone, but we have way more weight and low end and also like a thicker lower mid-range. 57. But kind of balanced and nice. Maybe a little too dark on its own, but a very, very nice, like kind of, I think like very expensive sounding mid-range. Let's blend the two. Let's see what happens. Starting with the 57. And that's what ribbon mics are great for, like to thicken up something that needs a little more beef. But time to move on. That was only one microphone. Here we got another passive ribbon mic, and also very classic and sexy looking. This is the R92. This one is also voiced a little more modern. What they say is it has, just like this one, a reduced proximity effect, so less low end. It has more pronounced mid and an extended top as well. And another thing that makes this one special is that both sides of this one sound different. The front is supposed to sound a little brighter, so this is what we're gonna use. Let's start with the 57 again, and now I want to go to the R92. We're using the bright front of that microphone. 57. And the grind is back, you hear that? Sounds very different from the other ribbon microphone. Thick low end, a little more scooped than the lower mids, but then you have that typical dynamic microphone grind in the highs. It actually sounds like a thicker 57. So let's go from this one, from the R92, back to the 57. That's a great sounding mic. Those palm mutes have like really, really thick, fat body. Let's blend the 57 and the R92. I like that. And on its own, I think for this kind of music, for this kind of guitar tone, the R92 is a little better than the darker sounding N22. Also, the N22 has a certain hardness in the mids. You hear that? It's around 2K. where the R92 just sounds smooth and nice. Wow. Cool. Let's move on. So this is maybe the most traditional ribbon that we're going to check out. This is the R84. It is kind of the affordable version of the classic AEA 44 microphone or the RCA microphone. It is a passive ribbon, and I expect this one to sound the darkest, so to say, and the fullest. It's a classic ribbon microphone. Let's have a listen. And it sounds the most traditional, like very dark, lots of low end, lots of proximity effect. And that's not exactly the right mic for this kind of music, for this kind of guitar tone. But then again, if you need to beef up your 57 or any other microphone, this might be just the right thing to do. So let's use the 57 and then blend in some of the R84. And this becomes your low-end fader. Very nice, very nice. Once again, I think all the ribbons would sound a little more direct and would sit in the mix better if we also add a low-cut filter, but I don't want to do that right now. We could activate the low-cut filter on the audio console, but I don't want to do that because I want to give you the raw and uneq'd files. But there's one more microphone to check out, and that is the KU5A, which is a very different looking microphone, as you can tell. And what makes this one special is, first of all, that it is a super cardioid microphone, unlike the others, which are all figure-of-8 microphones. It is also front addressed. They even recommend this for vocals, even live vocals. And once again, this is voiced more modern than the classic ribbons. So let's start with the 57 again. And very different once again. I'm kind of impressed by how different all those ribbons sound. This one, once again, has a smooth roll-off, so you don't hear those grindy highs of the 57 or the R92. It has a way more pronounced mid-range, maybe a little honky. The mid-range reminds me of an MD421. This honky yet scooped kind of tone. Not the biggest fan of this one, but once again, let's blend it with a 57 and see what happens. And here it's more the mids that get like filled up by the KU5A. Listen. And it sounds tighter than blending in an R84, which gives you more low end. But this is the cool thing about having a lot of mics on one cabinet. You have a whole palette of tones that you can blend together. You see, I take the 57, if I blend the R84, I get like more beef in the lower mids and the lows. I blend the KU5A, it kind of fills up or adds something to the mids. And once again, that's the cool thing about blending microphones. They all have their characters, and if you know how to put them together in a beautiful way, the more you create some kind of wall of sound. And I gotta say, all those mics sound cool and are very much usable, all in different ways. I think the R92 could be your main mic for this song. Especially because it's like this open black metal thing, which just, keeps on rolling. And the N22 could work as well. I think for that one, I would maybe boost the highs on the amp a little more. And the R84 is a little too dark and boomy on its own for me, but great blended with any of the other mic. The KU5A is a little too honky on its own, but once again, also great blended. So we've got all the options. Let's just reamp this setup now, all the 5 microphones without any filters, without anything else. And so we have, you know, all the possibilities for all those beautiful combinations. Let's go. All right, guys, everything is reamped, so it's time to fly back to Germany. Let's head over to Kohle Studio and start mixing. And here we are. Welcome back to Germany. Welcome to Kohle Studio. I have just done the mix of the guitars and I'm pretty happy with the final guitar tone. Let me show you which microphones I ended up using. And as you can see, I'm not even using the big system here. I'm not using the studio. I'm still mixing on my Kreative Devices laptop. They make good laptops. They're very affordable and very good. Not the most quiet laptops though, as you can hear maybe, but they're really good. I'll put a link below. This time using an Evo 4, like the smaller Audient Evo interface, because I don't need many inputs. And I'm even mixing on headphones on these beautiful Odyssey LCD-X headphones. So let's have a look and let's have a listen. I've done some pre-mixing and right now it sounds like this. I've done some more work on the drums. They sound a little more final now. Still no samples used, just more reverb, a little more processing, trying to make things a little more beefy and a little deeper. Sounds really nice. Let's have a look at the bass. The bass guitar sounds like this. And I've got 2 tracks here. My main bass track sounds like this. So this is the DI. And it's mainly just Mammoth, which is my favorite bass amp simulation. And then another EQ here. Yeah, but you should get Mammoth. It's fantastic for all kinds of evil bass tones. Sounds like this. It even includes 2 of my presets and 1 of my IRs. Really cool. There's a link below. Check it out. So that's the first track. But I wanted more. So I added another track, which sounds like this. So I filtered out the low end of the DI track and sent this into the Carry King plugin from Softube for some more evil distortion. And together it sounds like this. Now let's have a look at the guitars. This is what I ended up using. So, I mean, the whole point of this video and this production is we wanted to use ribbon mics exclusively, right? I've shown you that all those mics blend really nicely with the 57, but I decided I don't want to use the 57. So I started with my favorite ribbon mic, and that was the R92, which sounds like this. And you see there's even a reverb on the guitar because I want to make this big and ambient. And it's basically just this one hypnotic riff all the time. Let me just turn off the EQ on the guitar group for now. So we are listening to the raw signals. So this is the R92. This is the 57. Which also sounds good, just a little too brittle. I preferred that. All the mics already have a high and a low cut, okay? So I've done that everywhere. Anything else on this one? Yeah. Got rid of some boxy frequencies around 500, but that's only 1 dB, so not a lot. And I tried blending it with the other mics and I was surprised because, as you can see, I ended up using the R84, like the darkest and fattest sounding one of them. I didn't expect that to happen. So let's try blending all the ribbons again. I start with the R92 as our main microphone, and then we add let's start with the N22. So as you can hear, it fills up the mid-range, but it also sounded a little boxy, so this was not what I wanted. So I went on and tried the KU5A. Let's bring that one in. That already sounded a lot better and usable, just like a nice combination of mid-frequencies. But I ended up using the R84, and I'm still surprised about that. But let me show you. Where is it now? -11. Okay, let me do that again. Pull it down. Have a listen. And that ironically brings in some kind of 1K mid-bite that I really like. It fills up the mids without making things honky. And then I added an EQ to my guitar group, so to all 4 microphones. Looks like this. So I furthermore reduced around 500, where it still sounds a little too woody maybe. And then I took care of 2 frequencies up here that were a little too prominent. Nothing drastic, all around 2 or 3 dB. Let me just bypass the EQ one more time. Making things a little rounder and a little nicer. Okay, let's have another listen in the mix. And by the way, if you feel like this sounds a little boring, there will be additional ambient guitars coming in. I think I have some scratch tracks already. Stuff like that and stuff like this. So these are just the basic rhythm guitars, and this will build up a lot more and will sound very ambient. But it's important to have like a good backbone like tone for the main riff. And I really love, by the way, how the guitars and the bass sit together. So that was my little walkthrough. But you know what? You can download all the raw files of all the microphones, the 57 and the 4 AEA ribbon microphones, if you want to check them out. I'm not going to use any EQing, any filters, anything there. I'm just going to include them. There's a link below to the Toolhouse, I think it's still called Drum Sessions or something, where you can download the drum files and where you can watch the documentary about the drum session. But this also includes all the multitracks, the drums and the guitars. Feel free to download that. You just have to open up an account. It's all free. It's all free. You can download the files and check out the microphones yourself. I think I'm also going to include the rough mix I have right now, so you can hear what you can do with those files if you mix them a little bit. Okay? All right. I hope you had fun with me in LA and in Germany. And I think I will do a few more experiments with AEA mics in the future, because so far it was a lot of fun. Great people, great microphones, and you know, trying new things is always inspiring, don't you think? That's all for today. Don't forget to download the multitracks, check out the microphones yourself. Thanks for watching. I see you in hell, dear motherfuckers. Bye-bye.